translating skills.
Yes. Yeah. Hello and welcome to ¿Qué pasa? You are listening to WNHH 103.5 FM in New Haven, and you can also listen to us via www.newhavenindependent.org and La Voz Hispana CT via Facebook and La Voz Radio TV. This is Norma Rodriguez Reyes, your host. And right now we have live on our studio audience, Guy Smith. And Guy Smith is one of many candidates for governor of the state of Connecticut. So not only do we have several, about 7 or 8 candidates that are running for governor in the state, for governor for the state of Connecticut in the Democratic Party, but we also have between 10 to 12 candidates in the Republican Party that are also want to be governor of the state of Connecticut. And then we have those that don't belong to any party at all. And so Guy Smith, he claims that he will bring fresh thinking, fresh ideas, fresh creativity, and fresh people into state government. And he will work with everyone that state government reaches to solve the issues that we face in Connecticut. And Democratic Guy Smith is a resident of Greenwich, Connecticut. And ladies and gentlemen, he would love to be your next governor. Guy, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's great to be with you, and I look forward to our discussion and talking about why I want to be the next governor.
So tell me, Guy, why do you want to be the next governor of the state of Connecticut?
Over the last 4 decades, I have been a senior officer at 2 global corporations. I helped run the AmeriCares, the disaster relief humanitarian organization in Stamford, and I worked directly for President Bill Clinton at the White House. So I have a set of experiences that this state, at this moment in its history, needs. And frankly, wherever I go around the state and you say Hartford, people just groan. They're looking for change. They need different leadership, and I am that new leader.
Yes, because I don't know if everyone is aware of the fact that I think the first time in many years we have practically all positions open for constitutional officers. The only one that's running for re-election is Comptroller Lembo, and also for Secretary of the State, Denise Merrill. Other than that, all the other positions are open for grabs for whoever, even though the position for comptroller and also for Secretary of the State, you have to get reelected into those positions or elected into that position. So really, basically, all positions are open at this time.
Well, they are, and in terms of the governor's chair, we have a situation in our state where people are fed up with the inability of our state leaders to even talk to each other. I mean, what has happened, sadly, in Hartford is that the governor and the leadership of the legislature will not even go into the same room with each other and talk about important things like budgets, not like changing the name of a street, but the really important things. And they're disgusted with this, and they expect more. And frankly, there's some polls lately that show that our governor's popularity is down with Donald Trump's popularity, which is in the rock bottom in Connecticut. And the Republicans in the legislature are just a hair above that. The legislature broadly is just a hair above that, and Democrats in the legislature are just a little bit better. But all of them are way under 30%, and this is confirmed by everywhere I go in the state. People say we have to have new leadership, and I'm going to do some things that are different. I believe in traditional democratic values, and I believe in a progressive political agenda, but we're going to do things differently. I'm not going to raise taxes.
Okay, when you say about traditional democratic values, can you please elaborate on that?
Yes, of course. I believe in a $15 minimum wage. I believe in women's reproductive rights. I believe in equal pay for women to the pay that men receive. There are a lot of those types of things that I very much care about. I believe in labor unions. I believe in sanctuary cities. I think that our government needs to be more representative by the people that make up our society, specifically Latino office holders. We don't have enough. They don't match the population that we have in Connecticut of Latino people of Latino heritage. And I know that there's a lot of really great work that's being done to recruit and interest young people and old people into running for public office, serving in the public sector. And I think that this is really important because what that does is guarantee that you have all voices being heard at all levels of government. It's critically important, especially for our young people. And what examples they're now getting in where they see in Washington, sadly, the kind of hatefulness that's coming out of Washington, but even in our state government where there's an inability to sit down and work out an issue. And our democracy is founded on compromise. So,
Guy, tell me, what was a defining moment in your life that you finally said, this is it, I'm running for governor?
I think I was a spokesman for Hillary Clinton's campaign. I was the radio spokesman for the campaign, and I was on the radio a lot, and the campaign really went well until it didn't go really well. And people would come up to me after the campaign and they say, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I would say, well, you have to get involved. You have to pick a candidate, pick a race, support someone, get out and help them. And one morning I woke up and thought, Smith, take your own advice. So I decided to run for governor, and I'm running for governor because I think I have the leadership skills to bring people together. My whole career has been bringing people together to solve very, very difficult problems. There are no easy problems in our state government. They're hard problems, and they're hard to deal with. And that takes someone who can bring together those fresh ideas that you mentioned at the top of the show. We need to have new ways of looking at things. Right now, if you say, you go up to Hartford and people say, oh, there's only two solutions. You either have to raise taxes or kill teachers or kill unions or kill state workers, and we have to, we have to let ICE run rampant across the state. You don't have to do any of those things. What you have to do is bring people together and look at things in new ways. Now, that's not a pie in the sky kind of a promise. It is reality. It's the way government is designed to work, and it's what people who vote for people to senior offices, it is what they expect. And this is the kind of thing, and I think, it's something that we were talking about before the show began, about there being more Latino representatives in all levels of government. This is something that's really important, and it's something that it's too easy to say it's easy to do. It's not easy to do, but once people learn, young people or old people, when they get in government, they can do things to help people who need help. Not with a handout, but with creating a form of government that is designed to be for people. Right now, what we're seeing coming out of Washington, and in some cases out of Hartford, is it's government policies designed to harm people. That isn't going to happen in a Guy Smith administration.
Okay. Do you believe in the two-party system?
I believe in any kind of party system that elects people that the people really think will represent them. Now, you know, we've had in this country the Republicans and Democrats, and we've also had independents. I am a Democrat. I believe in the values that the Democratic Party articulate. And so I think that really anybody that, no matter what their belief, if they want to be involved in government, they should be, whatever party or non-party, and as an independent or something. But the thing that I would say to any person listening that is concerned about how the government functions is, get involved, become informed, get involved yourself. You know, run for office, learn about an office. Maybe it's a local in whatever town or city that they live in. You don't have to run for president of the United States the first time. Run for something that you care about.
Involved in the process need to open the doors, you know, or show, you know, be welcoming so that people can join the organizations.
I think that's very important, and I think that's one thing I'm very proud about the Democratic Party, because it is an open and welcoming party to, and you know, a lot of the critics say, oh, well, there's all kinds of people with all kinds of issues. Well, yeah, there are, and there are a lot of important issues, and what's interesting is all of those issues center around people and how to make life better for people in our country.
Right now, we have in the Republican Party, okay, 2 Latino state senators. Mm-hmm. In the Democratic Party, we have none. Right now, we have in the Republican Party Art Linares, who's running for treasurer, mm-hmm. for a constitutional officer, which the Republican Party is supporting.
Right.
Do you believe that it's time for a qualified Latino or Latina to be elected as in a constitutional officer position to reflect the makeup of the state of Connecticut? And if so, what will you be willing to do to assist in that goal?
Well, the answer to your question is categorically yes. And because, as I said a few minutes ago, if you take the Latino population in our state versus the number of elected public officials that we have who are of Latino heritage, it's not enough to be equal representation, which means that there need to be more people involved. Now, what can the governor, a sitting governor, do? What I can do, and will commit to your listeners right now, is that my administration will look like Connecticut. And we will have a very diverse cabinet and a diverse staff, so that every point of view and every perspective is represented. Now, you mentioned Republican Latinos that are in public office, and God bless them for serving. But if you look at their records are not really something that, in my view, helps anybody in the state, but particularly the Latino community. They are Latino, and it's good that they're in public office, and it's certainly their right to have any point of view that they want, and they should. I just don't agree with them on that, and I think that the more Latino people who become involved in government, or whether it's appointed to government or elected positions, they will represent their community, and their community are way more consistent with the values of the Democratic Party.
Yes. Okay. So you said that you're going to bring in new ideas, fresh thinking, mm-hmm. fresh ideas, and fresh creativity.
That's right.
Can you elaborate a little bit on each of those?
Of course. For example, tolls are being talked about quite a lot in Connecticut, and transportation is like the weather. It affects everybody, no matter who you are. Transportation is a critical component. Now, when you look at tolls annoy people. I'm not going to run a government that annoys people. When people say, well, we've got to collect the $800 million that tolls will raise. $800 million of your money. It's taxes. It's a tax increase. Every one of my Democratic candidate opponents in the primary is in favor of tolls. I am not. But I am not in favor of, what I am in favor of is tolls on out-of-state drivers. Now, people say, oh, you can't do that. It's against the law. It's not against the law. If you live on Staten Island in New York, and you go across the Verrazano Bridge, you pay a deep discount, way less than if you or I were going across the bridge. So what I think we need to do is have a program that collects tolls/taxes from people from New Jersey or New York or Wyoming or New Mexico that are driving through our state. Here's why. The people in this state already pay for the roads with the taxes that they're paying. Mm-hmm. They don't need to pay twice. But the people that are coming into the state from wherever are not paying for our roads. So they need to. And there's another thing. Up in Hartford, again, it's raise taxes, raise taxes. They're saying we need to raise the gas tax 7 cents. No. You lower the gas tax so that it's less than it is in New York State. That way, all those big trucks that are coming through, who are now told you may not buy gas in Connecticut by the owners, will be told you must buy gas in Connecticut. And while they're pumping 100 gallons into their tanks, they will go inside and buy a sandwich and a sales tax, which is again, they're paying taxes and not creating more tax burden on the backs of people who live here. We're paying enough taxes. And on tolls, if someone is of limited means, to paying any kind of toll is an issue, then we will address that as we set up the program. But I don't think that we need to burden our citizens with more and more taxes. We need to generate jobs. Then they have a job. We're importing more people into the state who will have jobs, who are all paying taxes, which lessens the burden for all of us, but keeps the level of government services at a very high level.
Right now, I think that in terms of getting out of poverty, the best way to do that is through education and jobs.
Absolutely.
So what do you propose in terms of education? How do you feel about the whole educational structure in Connecticut and also the jobs?
Well, let me talk about a component of education. That education is like a 9-hour conversation, of course.
Yes.
But one of the things I want to stop is this stuff that's coming out of Washington where they're taking away like daycare centers and early childhood centers and the money for that from the federal government. It's just wrong, and we're going to stop it. But quite specifically to your question about education is voc-tech education. We have a pretty good voc-tech system across the state of Connecticut. We need to fine-tune it. We need to put more voc-techs into the inner cities. We need to make sure that we're training people for jobs that are available in Connecticut, that are needed in Connecticut. Now, I'm not saying we're not doing that. We just need to do more of that. And this is not complicated. You just have to have somebody to decide to do it. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is that when we're talking about these specific kinds of things, and people say, well, that ain't going to solve the problem. It's too big a problem. Well, they're right. It is not. Well, that one thing will not solve the problem. We need to have 200 or 300 or 400 of those kinds of programs going on all at the same time. And this is what I meant by fresh thinking and creative thinking, by bringing ideas that do not cost the taxpayers more money but generate more revenue. Mm-hmm. This is very possible. There are many examples in other states around the country where these types of things have occurred, recruiting people into the state and giving them incentives to move into Connecticut. All of that does is create anchors for our tax base, our state tax base, and local tax bases, because the local, and on education that you asked about, there is a critically important local component. The state government certainly has a role, and certainly has a role with teachers, but also there's the locality, like in New Haven here where we're talking from. Mayor Harp and the Board of Education have done a great job. They're working hard to do more, and they're not suggesting that it's perfect. They would not suggest that it's perfect. But what we need to do, is more and more. And I don't mean when I say more, just pour more money into it. It has to be targeted and effective for the outcome that you need. And one of the outcomes that we need is to make sure that as the kids move through the school system, they are learning what they need to learn and then being trained for the kind of jobs that they want to be trained for, whether they go to the university and become an engineer that helps build the nuclear submarines over an electric boat, or they want to become a plumber or an electrician, which are critically important and well-paying jobs that are very much needed everywhere, but certainly here in Connecticut. And each one of those things, when you put them all together, it generates anchors in the community. It generates income, revenue into the government, to the local government and to the state government, which takes the pressure off the need. All this, we got to raise more taxes or we got to cut services.
Yes. I want to remind you that you're listening to WNHH 103.5 FM here in New Haven, and we're also streaming via the New Haven Independent.com and La Voz Hispana CT. We have live in our studio audience Guy Smith, who wants to be the next governor of the state of Connecticut. And he's basically talking about his platform as to what are the things that he would bring, his administration would bring in as governor of the state of Connecticut. So, Guy, let's just suppose November 6th, that's the day of our election, if I'm not mistaken.
In November, right.
In November, you get elected for governor.
Well, that's going to happen.
Okay? And you get sworn in, I think, I don't know if it's January 1st, I think you get sworn in. Yeah. What would be the first thing that you do as governor of the state of Connecticut?
The first thing I would do in my inaugural address to the citizens of the state is ask for their ideas, their prayers, and that we're going to all come together. And now that sounds, well, of course a politician would say that, but you know what? The politicians that we have now don't do that, don't think about that. They think about payback, or they think about, well, what I'm going to do is what I have said here on this show and I've said around the state. We're going to put together an executive branch that looks like Connecticut, that has representation from all of the important components of our society, and that those ideas, which are what made this state great to start with, which made our country the envy of the world, we must continue to bring those kind of ideas to bear in government. The other thing that I think is critically important, this is a government created for and by the people. Today, there is too much being designed to harm people. It is a government against the people, and that will stop in a Smith administration. We're not going to do it that way anymore. We're not going to do things like right now, coming out of Washington, the solution to this terrible gun problem is to put more guns in schools. The whole thing from Trump and the Trump Republicans is to make schools safe for guns, not schools safe for kids. I was with some teachers last Saturday morning, and I looked at them around this table, and I said, you guys look pretty tough, but you don't look like Navy SEALs. And they all just, then went off on, arming teachers just makes things more dangerous. It's just not the way to go about this in a modern society. And we don't have to take anybody's freedoms away to do this. We have to be thoughtful about it. But we also need to pay attention to protecting children. Mm-hmm. And they're what our society will become as they grow older, and we have to protect them so that they can learn. And turning schools into armed camps is just not a solution for anybody.
Definitely not the way to go.
No.
Not the way to go. So, Smith, time is just about up. Can you please talk to our audience in terms of you wanting to be governor?
I want to be governor because I care about the people in our state. I care about the children, and I worry about making sure that they have what they need to learn and grow up in a safe society. I care about those who are most vulnerable in our society. We need to watch over them and protect them. That's what society in a civilized country is supposed to do. I believe we can do that. But I also want to do things that stimulate our society to generate an economic environment where everyone can thrive, where everyone is treated fairly, and where people can have a job, raise their family, and succeed and grow and be whatever they want to be. This is the greatest country the world has ever seen. And if we continue to create an environment where people can thrive by their own ambition and not be subjected to discrimination, not be subjected to so many of the hateful things that our communities, including the community that's listening to this show, is being subjected to. We will put a stop to that, and we'll create a government that is for everyone.
And if they want more information, where is it that they would need to go to, please?
Well, they can go to Guy Smith, the number 4 CT, GuySmith4Connecticut.com, and that's our website. And they can send me an email and ask me a question, or they can just see what other kinds of things we're talking about.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, ladies, you have been listening, and gentlemen, you have been listening to Guy Smith, who will bring fresh thinking, fresh ideas, fresh creativity, and fresh people into state government, and who will work with everyone that state government reaches to solve issues that we face here in Connecticut. So he wants to be your next governor. And if you want more information, you can do so by going to Guy
Smith for Connecticut, the number 4.
Yes.
GuySmith4Connecticut.com.
Guy Smith for the number 4. CT.
Yeah.
CT.com. Thank you all very much for listening to us. This is Norma Rodriguez Reyes and your host, ¿Qué pasa? And I just want to wish all of you health, money, and love, and plenty of time to enjoy it. And as my friends always say, may we live to be 120, but in good health. Until next time.
Transmite en su canal de frecuencia modulada estereofónica multiplex La Voz Radio desde New Haven, Connecticut, al mundo.
Imagina la sonrisa de tus hijos corriendo por el patio con Max. Mientras tú y tu esposo sentados en el jardín, bajo un sol radiante y con tu bebida favorita, planean el próximo paseo familiar. Ahora deja de imaginar y ponle fecha a tus sueños. Es hora de convertir una casa más del barrio en un verdadero hogar. Llama a Prisma hoy y aprende cómo podría ser dueño de casa. Te ayudamos con préstamos convencionales, de gobierno, con Tax ID. Sí, con Tax ID. Y lo que es mejor, en tu idioma, de la A a la Z. Así de simple. 203-683-0600. 203-683-0600. Prisma Lending Group, tu hipoteca latina. Igualdad de oportunidades en préstamos para vivienda, sujetos de aprobación de crédito. Prisma Lending Group LLC, licenciados con el Departamento de Asuntos Bancarios de Connecticut, NMLS 2250.
Transmite en su canal de frecuencia modulada estereofónica multiplex La Voz Radio desde New Haven, Connecticut, al mundo.
Bien, Cotri. Hola, esta es Norma Rodríguez Reyes en el show ¿Qué pasa? Usted nos está escuchando a través de WNHH 103.5 FM en New Haven y también a través de newhavenindependent.org y en Facebook La Voz Radio, La Voz Hispana CT. Tenemos hoy con nosotros a Guy Smith. Guy Smith es uno de como 8 demócratas que tenemos que quieren ser el próximo gobernador del estado de Connecticut. También en el Partido Republicano tenemos como de 10 a 12 que están corriendo para gobernador, y además de los republicanos y los demócratas, también tenemos candidatos independientes que no están corriendo en ningún partido, y las elecciones para ellos serán en noviembre. Para los demócratas y para los republicanos, las elecciones serán en agosto para las primarias, y entonces después de la primaria se decidirá quién ha de ser el candidato que va a correr en las elecciones de noviembre para el Partido Demócrata y para el Partido Republicano, y entonces vienen los otros independientes que van a correr sin ningún partido. Guy Smith, él traerá nuevas ideas frescas, creatividad frescas y nuevas personas al gobierno estatal. Él trabajará con todos los gobiernos estatales para resolver los problemas que enfrentamos aquí en Connecticut. Guy, él es demócrata y residente de Greenwich, Connecticut. Así que, damas y caballeros, esa es la persona que tenemos aquí en nuestro estudio. Guy, thank you so much for being here with us.
Well, that's very nice of you to have me, and I look forward to our conversation.
Él se siente muy orgulloso de estar aquí y busca la conversación que hemos de tener. Le voy a pedir, por favor, su paciencia, porque voy a preguntar la pregunta en inglés. Él entonces la va a contestar en inglés y yo entonces voy a traducir al español. ¿Ok? Muchas gracias. Bueno, Guy, why do you want to be governor of the state of Connecticut? Déjame saber, por favor, por qué tú quieres ser gobernador del estado de Connecticut.
I want to be governor. I'm a Democrat. I'm not a career politician, and I'm not a career candidate. And I have a set of skills that I've learned from my career over the last decades that bring the kind of leadership that we need to our state at this moment.
Okay. Soy un demócrata. Por carrera no soy un político, tampoco un candidato político, pero sí tengo cierta destreza que traigo al gobierno. Okay.
One of the things that is critically important at this moment in history for the state of Connecticut is to have leadership that cares about people.
Una de las cosas que es muy importante aquí en el estado de Connecticut es tener personas que en realidad le importa a la gente.
Over the years, I have been a senior officer of 2 global corporations. I ran a humanitarian organization, a global one in Stamford, and I worked for President Clinton at the White House, directly for him.
A través del tiempo, ¿okay? He sido el director de organizaciones humanitarias y de empresas globales, y también trabajé para la administración de Clinton directamente.
Everywhere I go around Connecticut and you talk about our government in Hartford, people groan.
En todos los sitios que yo voy en Connecticut y se habla de nuestro gobernador o el gobierno en Hartford, la gente no está nada satisfecha.
We must change this.
Tenemos que cambiar esto.
And I will change it. And I will change it by bringing people together with new ideas.
Tenemos que cambiar esto, y yo cambiaré esto cuando traemos personas con nuevas ideas.
One of the things that's so important is that we must have a state government which looks like our population.
Una de las cosas más importantes es que debemos de tener un gobierno estatal que refleja la población del estado de Connecticut.
I know that there is much work being done to encourage those of Latino heritage to become involved in the political process.
Yo sé que hay mucho trabajo que se está haciendo para pedirle a los latinos que se envuelvan en el proceso político.
In Connecticut, we have a large Latino population, but we have small number of Latino government representatives.
En Connecticut tenemos una población grande de latinos, sin embargo, tenemos una pequeña representación en el gobierno.
This is really important.
Esto es muy importante.
And what this means is that everyone listening to this radio show right now can influence our government.
Esto es muy importante y todas las personas que están escuchando a este radio en estos momentos pueden influenciar al gobierno.
I think all of us know someone who's interested in government and interested in policy.
Yo estoy seguro que todos de nosotros conocemos a alguien que está interesado en el gobierno y en la política.
Encourage those people to become even more involved and help them, support them.
Pídele a esas personas que se envuelva aún más y sobre todo apóyelo.
This is the way leaders are developed.
Esta es la manera en la cual desarrollamos líderes.
And one of the things that we are lacking in Connecticut is we don't have very many Latino leaders.
Y una de las cosas que nos hace falta aquí en Connecticut es que en realidad no tenemos muchos líderes hispanos para que refleje la población.
Now, the Latino leaders we have are very good, but we just need to get more and more involved.
Los que tenemos hispanos son muy buenos, pero tenemos que envolver aún más personas.
And when I'm elected and put together the state government, it will look like Connecticut looks.
Cuando yo sea electo, yo me voy a asegurar que el gobierno mío refleje a cómo Connecticut parece.
You know, this is specifically related to the issue of like sanctuary cities, sanctuary state.
Eso también se relaciona mucho a las ciudades santuarias y el estado santuario.
Now, I have a strong view that we need sanctuary cities and we need to stop the discrimination that's coming out of Washington.
Yo tengo un pensamiento bastante fuerte que tenemos que parar, ¿ok? La discriminación en ciudades santuarias y especialmente necesitamos parar lo que está pasando en Washington.
But I cannot do this alone.
Pero esto yo no lo puedo hacer solo.
It requires everyone to speak up and be involved and support someone who wants to run for public office.
Eso se requiere que toda persona hable, se envuelven y que asistan a los que quieren correr para posiciones políticas.
This is what will make a difference.
Esto es lo que va a hacer una gran diferencia.
And it is my hope to lead this effort, but we need to have more and more people of Latino heritage become more and more involved at all levels, whether it's a state government level or a local level.
Sí. Yo estoy dispuesto a ser líder en esta causa, pero necesitamos más personas envueltas estatalmente hablando y también localmente hablando.
So I think the other thing that we need to think about for the kind of leadership that we need in the state of Connecticut is that we need to do some things to bring more jobs, but not just any kind of job.
Otra cosa que necesitamos hacer aquí en Connecticut es que necesitamos traer más trabajos al estado de Connecticut.
Now, I am a Democrat, and I believe in a $15 minimum wage.
Yo soy un demócrata y yo creo que se debe de pagar $15 mínimo por hora.
This is very important because it generates fair income for people who work.
Esto es muy importante porque eso genera un justo ingreso para las personas que trabajan.
And it's important to point out that all of the Republicans that are running for governor are opposed to this.
Y es importante que ustedes sepan que todos los candidatos republicanos que están corriendo para gobernador, no creen en eso. Okay. One of the questions, I guess, through Facebook that they're asking is, what would you do for the Latinos?
Well, I won't do anything for the Latinos. What I will do is things with Latinos.
Okay. Él dice que él no va a hacer nada para los latinos, pero que sí hará mucho con los latinos.
I will lead a state government that is designed to assist people in their daily lives so that they can succeed.
Okay. Yo voy a tener un gobierno que va a ayudar a las personas para que puedan existir en su diario vivir.
Now, this has many components.
Esto tiene muchos componentes.
Certainly education, job training, job availability.
Education.
Job training, job availability.
Okay. Esto tiene varios componentes. Por supuesto, educación, trabajos y la disponibilidad de trabajos.
And frankly, we need to have an atmosphere that does not create fear in the population.
Necesitamos una atmósfera que no crea miedo en la población.
This I will work very closely with the members of Congress who represent Connecticut, who do a wonderful job.
Okay. Y para lograr eso, yo trabajaré bastante con los miembros del Congreso que hacen un fabuloso trabajo.
Now, one of the things that is happening coming out of Washington are many things are being cut back and designed to hurt Connecticut.
Una de las cosas que está sucediendo que es que están cortando muchos fondos en la cual está hiriendo a Connecticut.
We must put a stop to this.
Tenemos que parar esto.
I will work very closely with other governors to put a stop to it.
Yo trabajaré fuertemente con otros gobernadores para parar esto.
Now, there are other things. When I talk about jobs, someone who has a job also has to worry about their children.
Okay. So, cuando yo hablo de empleos y la disponibilidad de empleos, alguien tiene que trabajar con los niños.
So that means that we need to have neighborhood daycare centers and health centers.
Así que eso quiere decir que necesitamos centros de la comunidad para cuidar a los niños y también centros de la comunidad para salud.
Now we have some of those, but we need to strengthen them.
Okay. Tenemos varios de eso, pero tenemos que hacerlos aún más fuertes.
And what is happening from Washington too often is they're cutting the federal funds back, taking them away.
Okay. Y lo que está pasando en estos momentos en Washington, D.C., es que están cortando esos fondos. Y estamos hablando de cortar fuertemente.
And these are critical to our economic success as well as an individual's personal success.
Y esto es muy crítico a nuestro éxito financieramente.
The reason for this is that if someone gets a job at minimum wage but has a child and nowhere for the child to be taken care of, they can't take the job.
Okay. Lo que pasa con muchas personas es que si usted consigue un trabajo, okay, y estamos hablando un trabajo de que se le paga el mínimo por hora y no tiene a nadie que le cuide a sus hijos, pues entonces no pueden aceptar el trabajo.
So, how do we do that?
¿Cómo hacemos esto?
The way we do that is that we look at how we spend the money that we have.
Tenemos que mirar en la manera en la cual estamos en estos momentos gastando el dinero que tenemos.
And where we spend the money.
Y a dónde es que lo estamos invirtiendo.
It is my opinion that we don't need to raise taxes to do this.
Okay. Y es mi opinión que no tenemos que aumentar los impuestos para poder lograr esto.
And I am the only candidate who will tell you categorically, I will not raise taxes.
Y yo soy el único candidato que te digo categóricamente que no voy a aumentar impuestos.
So, The question is, if you're not going to raise taxes, how will you do this?
Así que la pregunta es, bueno, si no va a subir, aumentar los impuestos, entonces ¿cómo vas a lograr esto?
What we will do is find new ways to approach these old problems.
Lo que vamos a hacer es que vamos a buscar maneras nuevas para llegar a estos problemas viejos.
And there are many examples in different states around the United States where fresh ideas have succeeded.
Y hay muchos ejemplos alrededor de otros estados en los Estados Unidos en la cual ideas frescas han logrado esto.
Now, we talked about Latinos becoming involved in the political process.
Bueno, estamos hablando sobre los latinos, los hispanos, envolverse en el proceso político.
It will be very important to me as governor to hear ideas from the Latino community.
Va a ser muy importante para mí como gobernador escuchar ideas de la comunidad hispana.
If that kind of dialogue is happening, then I personally don't have all the answers. I need everyone to participate. And this is a beginning way for someone in the Latino community who's never been involved to become involved.
Si ese diálogo ha de suceder, entonces es muy importante que la comunidad hispana se envuelva para ambos juntos venir con la solución a lo que se necesita. Tenemos aquí una pregunta de Eva Padilla. Hola Eva, ¿cómo estás? Ojalá y todo te esté viendo muy bien. ¿Qué piensa él componer nuevamente los tolls en Connecticut para mejorar la economía del estado? Eva Padilla would like to know, what do you think about putting in the new tolls in Connecticut to better the economy of the state?
Let me talk about tolls.
Ok, déjame hablar sobre los tolls, se dicen los peajes.
Tolls are a tax.
Peajes son impuestos.
Tolls annoy people.
Los peajes, la gente no se siente muy confortable, ok, se indignan.
I am not going to run a government that annoys people.
Yo no voy a correr un gobierno que va a indignar a la gente.
But there is a way to do this.
Pero hay una manera de hacerlo.
I will create a system for people that live in Connecticut to not pay tolls.
Yo voy a crear un sistema para las personas que viven en Connecticut no tengan que pagar peaje.
But people driving through from other states will pay tolls.
Pero las personas que están manejando hacia vez de Connecticut, sí, de otros estados, que paguen peaje.
Now, Eva is already paying for the roads right now with the taxes that she pays.
Eva en estos momentos está pagando para los peajes con los impuestos que ella ya está pagando, no para los peajes, ella está pagando ya para las carreras, con los impuestos que ella está pagando.
And all of the people from New York and New Jersey and Massachusetts and New Mexico that drive through do not pay.
Y las personas de otros estados como de Nueva York, de Massachusetts, de Nuevo México, de New Jersey, ellos no están pagando
Now, another thing relevant to Eva's question. In Hartford, they're saying we must raise the gas tax. We must increase it.
Ok, en términos de otra cosa que quiere mencionar, que tiene que ver con la pregunta que Eva está haciendo, es que en Hartford están diciendo que nosotros debemos de incrementar los impuestos de la gasolina.
That is not the solution.
Esa no es la solución.
Here's what you do.
Mira lo que ustedes deben de hacer.
You don't raise the gas tax, you lower the gas tax.
Ustedes no aumentan los impuestos de la gasolina, ustedes bajan los impuestos de la gasolina.
Now, why is that important?
¿Por qué es que eso es importante?
Today, when you drive on I-95, everyone sees these huge trucks.
Hoy, cuando ustedes manejan en la I-95, ustedes ven estos grandes camiones.
The companies that own those trucks tell their drivers you may not buy gas in Connecticut because it's too expensive.
Los dueños de esos camiones le dicen a sus choferes que no paren en Connecticut para coger gasolina porque es muy cara.
So, if you lower the tax, those same companies will tell their drivers, you must buy gas in Connecticut.
Así que si se bajan los impuestos de la gasolina, esas mismas compañías le van a decir a sus choferes que sí paren en Connecticut y compren gasolina.
So while they're pumping the 100 gallons of gas into the tank, they will go inside and buy a sandwich and a coffee and pay sales tax.
Ok, y mientras están comprando los 100 galones de gasolina, van a entrar adentro de la tienda y van a comprar ciertas cosas y ahí mismito ellos van a pagar impuestos por lo que están comprando.
And what that means is we'll sell more gas, which means we'll collect more tax, which means that we don't put a burden on EVA.
Así que lo que quiere decir eso es que vamos a vender más gasolina, vamos entonces va a entrar más dinero para impuestos y entonces así no tenemos que ponerle la carga a los ciudadanos de Connecticut.
Let me talk about one other thing in our cities.
Ok, déjame hablar de otra cosa más en nuestras ciudades.
Microfinancing.
Ok, el financiamiento grande.
Small business.
Oh, ok. Financiamiento para los pequeños negocios.
Someone wants to open a small store.
Alguien quiere abrir una pequeña tienda, negocio.
They need $20,000 to start.
Necesitan $20,000 para empezar.
Where are they going to get $20,000?
Hoy en día, ¿dónde van a conseguir $20,000?
If they have a car loan, the bank was difficult about that.
Si tienen un préstamo de carro, de auto, el banco, the bank is what?
Well, it was hard for them to get the car loan.
No fue tan fácil conseguir ese préstamo para ese carro.
So, solution.
Así que esta es la solución.
You put together many people who want to create small businesses across the state.
Así que lo que tú haces es que tú pones mucha gente que quieren empezar pequeños negocios alrededor del estado.
Then you work with the bank.
Trabaja con un banco.
And then you underpin all of that with the credit of the state of Connecticut.
Entonces tú utilizas el crédito del estado de Connecticut.
Which helps the bank say yes to the loan.
Entonces eso ayuda a que el banco le diga sí a un préstamo.
So the entrepreneur, the person who wants to start the business, has access to the microloan to get started.
Así que entonces la persona que quiere empezar el negocio tiene acceso a ese pequeño préstamo. When you say pin it to the state of Connecticut, can you elaborate a little bit about what that concept means?
What it would be the state of Connecticut would help support the bank in taking the risk.
So they would like guarantee.
Yeah.
Okay, pues lo que él está diciendo es que todos estos pequeños negocios se juntan, van al banco y entonces el estado de Connecticut es la persona que garantía ese préstamo para que así se le pueda dar el préstamo al pequeño negocio.
These programs operate in many countries around the world. There's no reason they can't operate right here.
Este tipo de programa que le estoy hablando funciona en muchos de los estados y en otros países, así que no hay ninguna razón por la cual no deben de funcionar aquí mismito en Connecticut.
Now, this is a fresh idea, but it's not a radical idea.
Esto es una idea fresca, pero no es una idea radical.
And this is what I mean when I say we need to bring new thinking into government.
Y esto es lo que yo quiero decir cuando estoy diciendo que tenemos que empezar nuevo pensar, nuevas ideas.
All the Republicans want to do is shut government down, send people home.
Okay. Lo único que los republicanos quieren hacer es cerrar el gobierno y enviar a todo el mundo para su casa.
Guy Smith is not going to operate that way.
En una administración con Guy Smith no va a funcionar de esa manera.
So, I think the important thing, and to everyone listening, is to become involved in whatever way they can become involved.
Okay. Así que la cosa importante aquí es envolverse en cualquier manera que uno puede envolverse.
This will result in more and better Latino representation.
Entre más en personas se envuelve, eso va a resultar en aún más y mejores representantes latinos.
The solution is in everyone's hands themselves.
Así que la solución está en las manos de todas las personas.
So, what does a person need to do to become involved?
¿Qué es lo que la persona debe de hacer para envolverse?
Look in the mirror and decide.
Mire al espejo y decida.
Anyone that's in this country has a voice.
Cualquier persona que está en este país tiene una voz.
The magic is to be sure that voice is heard.
¿Okay? Lo mágico de todo esto es asegurarse que se escuche esa voz.
Not sit back and wait for someone else. Do it yourself.
No se siente para atrás y espere que otro lo haga. Hágalo usted mismo.
And when I am governor, we will all do this together.
Okay. Y cuando yo sea gobernador, lo vamos a hacer todos juntos.
So, tell me what other kinds of questions that Eva might have asked if she had written another question on Facebook.
Right now, for 2018, all of the constitutional officers' positions are basically opened.
Mm-hmm.
There's only two that are running for re-election, which
Right.
is the the comptroller,
Comptroller.
Lembo, and the Secretary of State.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Even though right now there's several other candidates that are running for Secretary of State, I don't know of anyone that's running for controller, in the Democratic Party.
Right.
But in all of the other 5 positions,
Mm-hmm.
you have several candidates that are running for them.
Right.
We believe that it is time now for a Latina qualified to be a constitutional officer. We're not saying here that we just want any Latino because they happen to be Latino to be a constitutional officer.
Right.
We want someone that will make us proud.
Yeah.
And we believe that our community has been here for a long time. Just recently, I interviewed a doctor from Puerto Rico, a historian, who came here to Evergreen Cemetery because we have a Puerto Rican that was buried there in 1880,
Wow, okay.
lieutenant.
Yeah.
And they want to take the remains back to Puerto Rico, and they want to name the cemetery in his name. But many of us didn't even know. So the story is that the Puerto Rican community has been here and has always fought the cause because it fought for the Union. For the Union.
Yes, yes.
These folks were here fighting for the Union of the United States
Right.
because they believed in the Union. So that being said, we have always been there. So now we want the Democratic Party to show inclusion.
Oh, I certainly endorse that.
And so
Yeah.
we want to make sure that the candidates that are running, that they're also on the same page and supporting, our mission, so that we can feel proud to be part of the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party is showing what you so ably put together, inclusion.
I think inclusion is the only way we can succeed as a society. Mm-hmm. And this is so important. And the other side of that is everyone needs to be involved, whether it's for a constitutional officer position, which is very important, but it's just as important to become involved in a local, even if it's a volunteer position, because what that does is strengthen the inclusion and the diversity in our society generally.
Sí. Bueno, yo le estaba explicando a Guy la importancia para nosotros, 2018, tener una de las posiciones en el Estado como una cualificada latina o latino. Aquí no estamos hablando de que se coja cualquier hispano porque es hispano para una posición. Estamos hablando de personas cualificadas que nos hacen sentir muy orgullosos. Y Guy dice que sí, definitivamente que él está de acuerdo. Y lo importante también es envolverse. Si eso ha de suceder, nuestra comunidad se tiene que envolver también en el gobierno local y también en términos de ser voluntario. Okay? Time is of essence. What would you like to say to our audience?
Vote for God.
Vote for Guy.
I will bring new and energetic energy into our state government and will represent all of the people.
Okay. Él dice que él ha de traer nueva y energía, un gobierno de energía que sea representante de lo que estamos aquí en el estado, una buena representación de los residentes de aquí y las nuevas ideas que nos va a ayudar.
I wrote a book called If It Is Not Impossible, It Is Not Interesting.
Él escribió un libro que dice que si no es imposible, no es interesante.
Nothing is impossible.
Nada es imposible.
You just have to work at it and work at it and work at it.
Lo que tiene que hacer es trabajarlo y trabajarlo. Gracias. Thank you so much, Guy, for being here with us. I want to wish you the best in what you do, and
everyone on the that's listening now.
Okay. Él le da las gracias a todos ustedes por estar escuchando. Bueno, el tiempo como siempre nos traiciona porque avanza. Le quiero dar las gracias a todos que nos han estado escuchando. Hasta la próxima. Se despide de ustedes Norma Rodríguez Reyes. Si quieren más información de Guy, ustedes pueden ir a Guy Smith,
the number 4ct.com.
Okay. Guy Smith, el número 4 ct.com. Ahí pueden conseguir más información del candidato demócrata para gobernador. Guy se escribe G-U-Y y Smith S-M-I-T-H. Hasta la próxima. Se despide de ustedes Norma Rodríguez Reyes. Le deseo mucho salud, dinero y amor y tiempo para disfrutarlo. Y que vivamos 120 años en buena salud. Gracias. Thank you so much.
Transmite en su canal de frecuencia modulada estereofónica multiplex La Voz Radio desde New Haven, Connecticut al mundo.